Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 220. We definitely got a cool down chapter, but this was still great because we got a lot of lore. We got some really cool character dialogues and character growth for certain people. And we got confirmation of a certain character not being dead, obviously. And from the looks of it, we're already setting up for GOJO to come back within a couple of chapters. And Yuji is definitely, from the looks of it, he's going to be getting a pretty crazy power up, to say the least, in the next upcoming chapters with the knowledge he just got. Let's get into it. Kenjaku in this first portion of the chapter added a new rule number 14, prohibiting new players from entering the Culling games and adding an additional rule of when all the players other than Geto and Megumi Fushiguro have died, the Culling game will come to an end. Now Kenjaku wants to end the Culling game and begin his merger experiment, and he clearly doesn't want any interference. This rule really just feels like a please don't bring GOJO in clause, and GOJO is pretty much a main topic in this chapter, which is always a W anytime we get more stuff about GOJO up until he gets freed. But up until this point, it's been about 3 years in actual real life since we've seen GOJO in the manga. He's been foreshadowed at certain times and spots within dialogue, kind of to keep it in your mind that GOJO is going to be freed at some point. And when he does come back, it's going to be monumental. It's going to be impactful on everyone in the manga and in the real world. I feel like that's going to break the internet when that happens. But amidst all of this text and lore we learned a little bit more about the type of barriers Tengen has put up all over Japan. We have the purification barriers that were put up to suppress the outbreak of curses. These are the main barriers we know about when Tengen was first mentioned and introduced to the series. But among them are 4 very vital barriers located in the Imperial Palace, the Tomb of the Star, the Yamakuni Imperial Mausoleum, and where Kenjaku is currently at right now, the Hida Holy Mountain. And the final barrier, which is for the Culling game, is called the Brahmic Barrier. These 4 barriers, when deactivated, could have stopped the Culling games, but a bunch of casualties would have also taken place afterwards. So he's going to use his new Tengen to get rid of the barrier without destroying the testing grounds for the Great Merger. And then they walk down this path and go into a room with what looks like some sort of Heian era vessel or body that has a similar face to full form Heian era Sukuna. And Kenjaku says this will be a good souvenir for Sukuna. Now tons of stuff to talk about in just this section right here with Kenjaku and Tengen, but this body that they are grabbing and bringing to Sukuna intrigues me the most. Because when Kenjaku first saw Tengen's form in his fight with Yuki, he laughed because he said he looked like basically a Heian era Sukuna, and he chose to look like that. Only a couple ideas really come to my head about what this is. My initial thought was that maybe it's like a body of Tengen that's used to keep the barrier in place, but it's not needed for that clearly, as we learn, so it can't be that. The other idea would be that whatever this is, it has cursed energy in it, and maybe it will be used as a tool for a potential vessel moving forward. Maybe like a replacement or a transferable body for Sukuna to get in if he doesn't want to keep Megumi's full body. So thinking about it, I'm not sure if him adding that rule really affects GOJO, because GOJO's technically already in the colony, and even though he's not considered a new player, he can still just come out, because if he comes out the prison realm or the back of it or any other form of it and he's inside, let's say Tokyo, I would imagine maybe the rule doesn't really take place, or maybe he just can come out but he won't be able to take any points or stuff like that. Not really sure. I don't know, maybe we'll figure that out later down the line. But on to the Angel. The Angel and Hana are alive. This is probably a surprise to no one, considering people pointed out numerous times that Sukuna didn't get any points from the quote-unquote killing of Hana. She survived her fall because she landed on a Mai of all people, the boy that went to Yuji's school, and who would have thought that he would come in that clutch. And Takaba also helped as well. I'm assuming with his curse technique. I think somehow Takaba's curse technique reduces the damage of incoming pain, if he finds it funny, obviously. Although, I'm not really sure how Takaba found someone falling from a building funny. Shogo and Yuta also are by her side. They help heal her. She won't be fighting anymore, which sucks, but her role of helping free GOJO is still active, so we still have that. Also, it was questioned if Angel can switch bodies similar to Sukuna, which she and the other vessels just don't know how to turn themselves into cursed items like Sukuna did, considering he died at one point and he probably figured it out at a near-death situation. Even though an Angel says it's impossible, there's still a part of me that believes that maybe there will be a way for her to split her soul into multiple capacities, maybe with her wings of some sort. But with a certain book that was given to us, I feel like maybe that possibility goes up just a little bit. Amai also has some solid character growth with our MC Yuji Itadori. Amai always looked at himself as weak. He always pleased people that he views as strong to get on their good side, whether they were bad people or not. Even getting his ass beat afterwards by those same people, he was always a lackey. He was a lackey for the Propeller Duo, and that's pretty much how his life has always been. Up until he saw Yuji fighting to save people and how strong Yuji was, he wanted to change his life and fight alongside those people instead of hiding and running from his problem. And people say Yuji doesn't have an impact on other characters. Like, come on now, what are we doing? But Yuji forgives him because he saved Hana. We desperately need Hana for Gojo, so that's a W for Amai, and pretty much his whole character growth, considering he was able to save someone that could potentially save all of Japan. Yuji also said that Shoko told him that he's a cursed item soaked in Sukuna's cursed energy, which I already predicted because it simply felt that if Sukuna stayed in Yuji's body for so long and he has more of his cursed energy scattered in those fingers, it wouldn't be out of the ordinary that Yuji keeps some of Sukuna's cursed energy. And this panel of Yuji saying, so long as I can kill him, I'll eat anything, raw as hell. My favorite panel in this entire chapter. I need this colored ASAP. But now the JJK Avengers have assembled. We have everyone gathered in this room. We have Yuji, Yuta, Maki, Ui's bitch ass, Akari and Kirara, Miwa, Momo, Choso, Shoko, Kashimo, Panda, and even Toge makes his appearance after years of just not being in the manga. No Higuruma though, which sucks. I feel like we probably won't see him in the final climax of the arc. No Mei either, which is odd considering her brother's here. I feel like she has something under her sleeve that we don't know about. Choso gave Yuji the back of the prison realm as well as the research book regarding souls that Yuki wrote in. This seems like a huge setup piece for Yuji. We got info about cursed items and splitting our souls. Now Yuji, of all people, who's a cursed human hybrid being a death wound painting, leaves the possibilities of Yuji's power to be kind of endless. There's a ton of stuff that Gege can do with this book, and this proves yet again Yuki didn't die for no reason. Also, I genuinely like the interaction between Yuji and Choso here, just that they have a really brotherly relationship now. These two might be a top 5 duo for me. And surprisingly, we actually get some Shoko content here. Of her reminiscing about Geto and Gojo and thinking about Gojo's words of nurturing strong allies and nobody will need to be alone again. And in front of her, she just sees monsters waiting for his return. This is a really great calm before the storm chapter. Love the lore of the bears we got with Kenjaku and Tengen. The stuff regarding Yuji and the potential of what he's about to do in the upcoming chapters, I just cannot wait for it. And obviously Gojo is definitely coming back. I'm predicting probably within the next 15 to 20 chapters. I feel like Gege's just gonna let this simmer for a little bit longer. I'm actually hoping that we kind of stay with this group for just like another chapter or two before we really start to go into the Sukuna, the Kenjaku stuff, because I really just want to get everyone's thoughts before we head into like this final climax. Definitely Kashimo, because he's the only one that's really kind of off alone with himself other than Shoko, and plus he's the only one there that's anxiously wanting to fight Sukuna for a purpose that's really selfish. He's not really trying to save or help anyone. And might as well talk about what my thoughts on about Megumi and Sukuna. I feel like obviously we didn't get that right now because that's something that should be shown a little bit later, because I feel like Gege kind of wanted to show what everyone else was doing before we go into really the dark and kind of the grimy stuff with Megumi. I feel like Megumi is definitely going to bounce back. I feel like the chapter that we do see him is going to regard something of a lot of internal dialogue within himself and him fighting back Sukuna and showing just, even though you did kill my sister and this is supposed to be the end of me per se, I'm still going to fight back because I still have a purpose and a reason to want to finish you. Plus, I'm pretty sure his sister would want him to fight back against Sukuna, even though we never really got dialogue regarding that, obviously because she was in Yorozu's body. I feel like Megumi would know from himself that you need to save other people and not let him take over your body. And I really cannot wait to get into this soul book stuff with Yuji and just what he can do with the knowledge that he now has, and the fact that he's holding the prison realm now. He has the back of it, so he holds that responsibility of making sure it's not destroyed, it's not taken apart, any of that. Just a ton of anticipation I just cannot wait for. And the simple fact that we still haven't gotten the Yuji Sukuna curse technique thing, I don't know if that's gonna be like a very end game scenario, but I just need to see my boy with a curse technique, especially from Sukuna. I feel like we've been waiting for at least 3 or 4 years just for that. And I think the final battles from now on are just going to be Kenjaku, Urame, and Sukuna. I don't really see anybody else jumping in terms of antagonistic role. So this is definitely going to be some unreal battles. I feel like we're going to get a lot of group battles as well going forward. That's my thoughts on the chapter and everything that took place. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already. Also feel free to check out the second channel if you're interested in anything other than JJK, like other manga and anime that's coming out. I have stuff over there as well. I'll let y'all in the next one. Peace.